Are the rules for bishops and deacons for all Christians, or are they just for deacons and bishops? That is what we will be discussing today, my brothers and sisters. First, we will read scripture. Then we will go over the similarities and differences between the two. And we'll discuss what that actually means as far as the subject at hand. And then we will discuss, the problems and other things, some of the problems that goes along with if this actually does apply with all Christians. All right, so now let's start out with reading 1 Timothy 3, 2 through 12. A bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy liquor, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjugation, and with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach in the snare of the devil. Likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy liquor, holding the mystery of the faith in pure conscience. And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Even so, their wives must be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife, ruling their children in their own house as well. All right, we have read that. Now let's go on. This next part I want to discuss with you. Some of the similarities are the rules that they have in common for these offices. Starting with, they are not to be given to much wine, or they're not to be alcoholics. They are not to be greedy of filthy liquor, that is, pursuing dishonest gain. They both have to be blameless. They both have to rule their house and children well. They both must be proved and be of good report. They must be grave, that is, honorable, and or good behavior. Now, these are the 6 things that they have in common. Now let's go over the things that they don't, the rules that only one has that the other doesn't. And we'll start with the rules that are given to the bishops, and bishops only. 1, they must be the husband of one wife. They must be vigilant, of sound mind, given to hospitality, apt to teach. They cannot be strikers, or that means they cannot be physically violent. They cannot be a brawler. In the word that's using here, it means argumentative. They can always be arguing. They must be patient. They must not be covetous. That is, they must not be desiring that which other people have, including their wives. They must not be a novice. Now that we have covered those, let's go over some of the rules and regulations that are only for deacons. They cannot be a double-tongued or liar. They must hold on to the faith in pure conscience. Their wives must be honorable, of sound mind. They must not be false accusers, and faithful in all things. And this is one of the main things that they differ from bishops, because it also says, let the deacons be the husband of one wife. Now this is very interesting. Deacons only have 4 qualifications that are different. Deacons only have 4 qualifications that bishops don't have, whereas bishops have 11 qualifications that deacons don't have. and they share around about 7 qualifications, meaning bishops have a total of 17 qualifications, while deacons have around 11, for about a grand total of 21 regulations and rules between the two. The two rules that are different between them are there are two rules that are different between them that I find most interesting, and it is that a bishop must be the husband of one wife, while a deacon can be the husband of one wife. Yes, they have two different rules on marriage. A bishop must be married, and a deacon is allowed to be married. These two rules alone prove that these rules are only for bishops and deacons. Otherwise, how can someone both be allowed to be married and must be married at the same time? You can't. It is impossible for us to follow both sets of rules. A bishop must be a husband, while a deacon is allowed to be single. Now, even though we just saw that because of these two different rules on marriage, that this cannot apply to all Christians. Now let us look at some problems if it did. 1. How can a celibate woman or child be a husband? The fact that the bishop must be a husband and a deacon is allowed to be a husband, and a bishop has rules for his wife, tells us that these positions, one, must be male, which could for a bishop, or which would for a bishop, disqualify women, children, and celibates from that position, as well as those who are not good teachers, who are beginners, they are mentally handicapped for whatever reason, and introverts from being Christians. As for deacons, it would disqualify women and those who have yet to prove themselves from being Christians. So in conclusion, no, these cannot be for all Christians.